So what is the actual job of a CEO? When you're building a business, many times in the beginning, you're doing a lot of jobs, right? You're probably the one answering the phones. You're the one doing the sales calls. You're the one doing operations. You're doing everything. You may not even think of yourself as a CEO because you've never created an organization chart to even understand what a CEO does and what that role is because you're so busy being busy. And many times you may pride yourself on the fact that you're so busy. So many people get caught up in the fact that they think that because they started the company, their job, their duty, their obligation is to be the busiest person. The one who turns the lights on in the morning, the one who turns the lights off at nighttime. I get that. But ask yourself, what are you really doing when you're the CEO of the company? When you start the company, what is your job and what is your responsibility? So many times I see business owners not even understand what the CEO's role is, so they don't do it. So what do? They get so focused on worrying on what other people are doing on the team. What is the salesperson doing? What is operations doing? Get out of the way. Let me show you how to do it. You're not doing that right. You're not doing that right. Many times, business owners, and this could be you, I don't know, you could be so busy focusing on what other people are doing, you're not focusing on what you should be doing. You're not focusing on growing the business from an upper level perspective, working on systems, working on structure, maybe strategic partnerships, maybe getting funding for the growth. I see so many times that business owners, because they don't know what to do, they revert back to what they started doing when they started the business. What does that mean? That means you started doing all the things that you were doing when you initially built it. You get involved because you know what, no one can do it better than me because I started the business. So you know what, just get out of the way and let me just show you how to do it. But are you really helping? Number one, you're telling your employees that you're better than them and that just to get out of the way. Also, you're training your employees that if they screw up enough, well, you're just gonna jump in and fix it. So what you're doing is you're actually training them to start doing the role that you should not be doing. And you're getting involved in their business when you shouldn't, because you're not trusting your team. I would say the role of the CEO is to have the high level perspective. Think of the military, right? When you have a general in the military, the general is not on the front lines doing the fighting. He's back, has a very, very large perspective. In the aviation world, we call it the 30,000 foot view, so that we can see everything that's going on. You've got to be detached from the situation. When you're detached, you have a different perspective of what's going on compared to being right there on the front lines. So if you want to know what you should be doing as the CEO, start thinking, okay, how do I detach from the business? Could I separate myself for an hour, maybe half the day, maybe the whole day, maybe a week? Could I run the business by letting the team do what they need to do and me helping them? You give them the tools to succeed, right? You give them the education they need. You give them everything that they need to succeed and then let them go. Now, the key to this is not leading through abdication, meaning you don't lead and then just tell them what to do and then dump it on them and then run away, right? That doesn't work. You have to make sure that you are accountable to them and they are accountable to you. So for example, metrics, key performance indicators. These are things that you could use to metric your company to make sure that everyone is doing what they should be doing. This is the key to growing your business. And this is how I would suggest that you focus on doing this, because as you grow your business, you are going to need to understand the metrics that the company runs. How are you going to own 5 or 6 businesses if you're so busy involved in the first business? You're not. You got to remove yourself. You got to detach. The way you do that is by metrics and data, right? You should be able to sit down in a leadership meeting, pull up the KPI metrics for the week and know if your company is on track or if it's off track for the goals and where you're trying to go. If you can't do that, then there's a breakdown somewhere in the system and you want to be able to break it down, right? Use your brain, don't use your hands. Let other people use their hands. The great thing about a business is leverage, right? As a CEO, your job is to leverage everyone else so that you can do what you do best, which is making sure that you grow the company to the degree that it can grow to with its potential based on the team, based on the staff. Don't get involved in other people's shit. Let them do what you trained them to do. Let them do what you hired them to do. You focus on being you. You focus on being the good CEO. Let them run the company. You run the upper logistics and be accountable. I recommend that you are accountable to them. You let them know what you're doing. So when you have a leadership team meeting, after you hear what they're doing, now you let them know what you're doing to fulfill the growth of the company as per your role, your job description, and all the things that you're accountable for. So again, remember, as a CEO, you do have a lot of responsibility. You have the most responsibility because it's your job to make sure that you're steering the ship in the right direction. It's not your job to be in the engine room, shoveling the coal into the engine. It's your job to be on the top, looking out to make sure that you're heading in the right way and you're not going to run into a wall because you're so busy in the engine room working. So remember, detach, have that 30,000 foot perspective and really look at what you're doing and ask yourself, are you doing the best thing strategically for the company and for the team? I'd like to hear what you're doing with your company. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're doing. I'd love to hear how you're helping grow your business and what you're doing right now to grow it. This is Steve Rozenberg. We'll talk to you later.